HarperVia and HarperAudio present The Ghetto Within, a novel by Santiago H. Amigorena, performed by Stephen J. Cohen. For Mopey, who wrote it before I did. For Marion, who is writing it with me. To react commensurately to the incommensurable was impossible. Those who demanded this of the victims might just as well demand of a fish floundering on a bank that it promptly grow legs and walk back to its watery kingdom. Gunther Anders, We Sons of Eichmann. Preface. 25 years ago I began writing a book to oppose the silence that has stifled me since birth. Of this book, which comprises 6 parts, the following have been published. Part 1, A Laconic Childhood, the second chapter of Part 2, A Voiceless Youth, Part 3, A Taciturn Adolescence, published as 2 separate volumes, The Second Exile and First Times, Part 4, A Mute Maturity, also published as 2 separate volumes, First Love and First Defeat, and 3 appendices, 1978, 2003, published as Days I Have Not Forgotten, and 2086, published as My Last Words. The pages you now hold in your hands are the source of this literary project. In Buenos Aires, the afternoon of September 13th, 1940 was rainy, and the war in Europe so remote that one might still have thought it was peacetime. Avenida de Mayo, the broad thoroughfare lined with Art Deco buildings that connected the presidential palace to the National Congress, was all but deserted. Only a few men, scurrying from their city center offices with newspapers held over their heads to ward off the rain, rushed to catch a bus or taxi that would take them home. Among these furtive passers-by, Vicente Rosenberg, a 38-year-old man protected by his hat, was walking calmly but absent-mindedly toward Café Tortoni, a fashionable coffee house where, in those days, one was as likely to encounter Jorge Luis Borges and the glories of tango as European refugees such as Jose Ortega y Gasset, Roger Caillois, or Arthur Rubinstein. Vicente was a young Jew, or a young Pole, or a young Argentinian. In fact, on September 13th, 1940, Vicente Rosenberg did not yet know quite what he was. As he stepped into the café, he quickly noticed, seated at one of the little tables along the wall opposite the counter, the hulking figure of Ariel Edelson, his best friend. He was reading a newspaper as he waited for Vicente, his elbows propped next to his coffee on the marble tabletop, near the billiard tables in the gaming salon. Next to him, gazing toward the back of the café so that he could watch the games, nervous as always, sat Sammy Grunfeld, a young man who often accompanied them. After shaking hands with both men, Vicente had flapped his overcoat to rid it of the last raindrops attempting to seep into the thick wool, then sat down with his friends, tilting his head slightly so that he could read the front-page headlines. In Europe, the Battle of Britain was raging, while the Nazis had begun to segregate Jews and confine them to ghettos. Ariel, whose friends in Argentina called him the Bear, folded the newspaper, and he...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?